Hello, welcome to the TOPS information session. My name is Jessie Green. I am the program manager of TOPS at the Ohio State University Nysanger Center, and we also have Mallory Workman here, who is our academic advisor and volunteer coordinator. So today we're going to talk about academics, campus engagement, residential services, career services, self-determination, and the costs of TOPS. We've done introductions, but I will also introduce you to our other staff who is not with us today. Dr. Margot Izzo is our program director and principal investigator of our grant. As I said, I'm Jessie and Mallory is here as well. Sherry Urin is our residential living coordinator and helps with our social aspects of our program. Patty Conkey and Ashley Leslie are our career specialists, and Stevie Graham is our job coach, and the three of them support our students in their career aspirations. And finally, Vino Viswanathan is our program assistant. So if you reach out to our office, that is who you will connect with. So TOPS was born out of the Higher Education Opportunity Act, which was reauthorized in 2008. Funds were made available in 2010 through grants. The reauthorization of the Higher Ed Act established TIPSed programs for students with intellectual disabilities. In the first round of funding in 2010, 27 awards were granted. We were one of those institutions. In the second round of funding in 2015, 25 schools were awarded grants. Again, Ohio State was an awardee that year. And what that means is that we were able to not only establish our program at Ohio State, but grow programs throughout the state of Ohio so that we are working as a consortia together to improve programs and provide the best opportunity for our students. The Higher Ed Act also established comprehensive transition programs, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And so a CTP provides guidance and it allows the students to access federal financial aid. So students are able to apply to FAFSA, and depending on household need, qualify for financial aid. It is limited in that students are only eligible for Pell Grants, work study, the OCOG, which is the Ohio College Opportunity Grant, and the SEOG grant. Students and families are not eligible for any federal loans as being part of a CTP program. The CTP also establishes satisfactory academic progress, which is what monitors student performance. The grants also developed Think College, which is a national recognized organization that is all things inclusive college for students with intellectual disabilities. It's a great resource for students. It's a great resource for parents, professionals, anyone. I highly, highly recommend it. They also collect a lot of data and are able to do research with that data on the students that are attending programs nationwide. There's a great college search tool. So if you're looking for colleges throughout the United States, you're able to search that to see what is in your area. Or if you're wanting to travel out of state, you can do that as well. So currently we have 20 students in the program, 16 are male, 4 females. We have a variety of years that students are in the program. We have 7 first years, 4 second years, 6 third years, and 3 fourth years. We have 1 student that is not from Ohio, and then the rest are from all over Ohio. So not all are local to Columbus. And so our program operates on a 2 or 4 year model. And so students earn the Workforce Development Certificate upon completion of coursework, internships, social activities, community service, and those parts of our program. And so this kind of outlines those tracks. The 4 year is a doubling of the 2 year. And so they get their requirements through their coursework that Mallory will talk about shortly, and their internship hours and experiences that I will talk about towards the end.
and I will take it from here. Thank you guys for tuning in. As Jesse said, my name is Mallory, and I am the academic advisor for the program. In addition, I work with our peer mentors that support our students in their day-to-day activities, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit as well. So our goal or plan of the TOPS program is to have our students as integrated into the university as possible. So as far as academics go, we follow all the same due dates, deadlines, timeline, all of that as any other traditional OSU student would. Now, traditional is a little subjective here because there's nothing traditional about this school year. But currently we follow the OSU calendar with breaks or no breaks and in the timeline that the rest of the university falls. As the academic advisor, my main goal is to create as individualized of a course selection for each student as possible. So each of the students will have a very specific and personalized sequence of courses that they will audit for their time in our program that is tailored to their career interests or other hobbies and passions. There are two types of classes that our students engage in while they're in our program. First, they're inclusive regular courses, which are offered through the OSU course catalog, have other traditional OSU students enrolled in them, and are taught by OSU faculty and staff. And then we have our program level courses, which are specific to the TOPS program, taught by TOPS staff, and only have TOPS students and peer mentors enrolled in them. Oh, next slide. Sorry, I forgot that I wasn't in charge.
Letting me change it.
I'm sorry, it got loud here. Did you guys say something?
No.
We have to start again?
Nope. Okay, go ahead.
Excellent. So as I said, all of our students are enrolled in inclusive regular courses each semester in the program. Typically, each student enrolls in one OSU course. And again, that's offered through the OSU course catalog. If you're familiar with OSU at all, there's over 200 academic departments. So that means there are thousands and thousands and thousands of courses for our students to choose from each semester. Typically, these classes are about 3 credit hours. So students are in class 2 to 3 times per week. And again, they're taught by university faculty members or teaching assistants. As we will continue to mention, our students do not receive college credit or grades for their courses. Rather, they receive credit towards their TOPS specific certificate that they receive at the end of the time in their program. Some of the beauty of the fact that our students are auditing courses is that I'm able to collaborate with faculty and staff to ensure that the students are receiving as much or as little support as they need in each of the courses. So this means that we can provide not only accommodations, but also some modifications as well. And we've been able to get pretty creative about the types of assignments, length of assignments, objectives of assignments that the students complete in each of their OSU courses. And this would not be possible if our students were taking the classes for credit. So just as any other traditionally enrolled student would have their GECs or general education courses, our TOPS students have them as well. For traditionally enrolled students, these are going to be the languages, English, math, science, art, all of those fun courses. But because our students are only auditing 1 to 2 classes per semester, our GECs are a little bit different because they're tailored more to our top students and to enhancing or developing skills that would be relevant for their life after TOPS. So this is just a handful of the GEC courses that are available for our students to choose from during their first semester in the program. I have about 2 to 3 dozen that the students choose from during our summer program, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So they do still have that choice of what their first course at the university will be. Some of the options are the world's longest course title, Individual Learning and Motivation Strategies for Success in College. Basically, it's College 101. So students learn about study skills, stress management, how to, effectively do homework, anti-procrastination techniques, and all of that fun stuff. It's been a very popular class for our first year students, and we've had a really great partnership with that department over the past 5 years. Introduction to Disability Studies, Public Speaking, Personal Finance, Personal and Intimate Relationships. As you can see, these are all classes that teach some skills that would be applicable not only during their time in the program, but after the program as well. So once the students take that first course, then we get into the fun, like meat and potatoes of their interests. And for the rest of their time in their program, they get to choose their elective courses. This is just, again, a handful of dozens and dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of classes that I've helped students enroll in over the past 5 years that I've been with the program. But typically we notice that students choose one of two tracks when it comes to their elective courses. The more popular option is that students choose courses that are in line with their career goals. So while our career folks are doing a wonderful job of getting the students in internships and jobs that are relevant to their goals after TOPS, then the classes would also be affiliated with those goals and ambitions. For example, we had a student who wanted to be work in a music classroom at either a primary or secondary level. So while he was having internships in the schools and having experiences in that capacity, he took all of his classes within the music department. So Introduction to Music Education. He took several classes that were based on specific instrument families, and just really aligned his courses with his post-TOPS goals. The other sort of school of thought for our families and students is that our career experts are doing such a wonderful job of providing post-TOPS career and job exploration and internship opportunities that they want the students to be able to get creative and explore some other interests with their courses. And a good example of this would be, we had a student who is now working at the Wexner Medical Center in patient transport. And unfortunately, there are not too many patient transport aligned courses at the university. And so this student had a huge, huge, huge passion for history, and he was such a history buff. So our career advisors were doing a fantastic job of getting him the internship experiences that he and his family decided that his courses could be in within his interests, in his like kind of side hobbies. And so he took all history courses during his time in the program. So again, here's just a handful of courses: fashion and retail, animal sciences, the craft of acting, history of technology, planet Earth. We have a student in a hip hop class this semester. We have students in a Grimm's fairy tale course, which is actually related to the student's goals because he wants to be an author. So the opportunities are limitless, just with the vastness and the capacity that Ohio State has for different courses. And then, as I mentioned, we have our program level courses, which are not offered through the university catalog and are taught by TOPS staff. And these are what we call student learning communities, or SLCs. And the SLCs, we teach things that the traditional college course would not, such as life skills, job and career readiness skills, and a wide variety of topics within these categories. So our first year students enroll in a first year independent living student learning community and a first year career readiness student learning community. Our second year students engage in a hybrid version of both that takes the topics that they learned in the first year and provides more application-based activities for those particular topics. And then our third and our fourth year students engage in an independent study in which we take a series of topics that they feel like they need to develop a little bit more and work specifically on those topics with staff. So some of the things that our students learn about in their career readiness SLCs is what to wear to a job interview, how to fill out a job application, benefits, disability disclosure, how to ask for accommodations on the job, and a wide variety of other job and career readiness topics. And then for independent living, we talk about health and wellness, how to develop and maintain healthy relationships, budgeting, how to, live in your own apartment or a dorm for the first time, campus safety, and a wide variety of other topics as well. And then this is me. I work with the students. I meet with them every other week to discuss their progress in their classes. I engage not only with the students, but also their peer mentors and the instructors to ensure that everything is going smoothly and that things are progressing well. I also work with the students, again, to come up with their very personalized course of study during their 2 or 4 years in our program, and just make sure that, if goals or ambitions change, that our series of courses changes with them. And just make sure that the students, mentors, and instructors are all happy throughout the semester. So one of the things that I think is absolutely wonderful about our program is the supports that we provide our students in their day-to-day activities. Every semester, I have a cohort of between 50 to 60-ish, typically enrolled OSU students that provide supports to our students, our top students, in their classes, outside of class, social events, in the student learning communities, pretty much in a wide variety of capacities. Our students each have an educational coach with them in their OSU course to provide any supports that they might need to be successful in the class. The educational coaches, in addition to all of our other peer mentors, receive extensive training and communications from both myself and other top staff members to ensure that they feel adequately prepared to support our students in the classroom. Some of the supports that they do provide are note-taking assistance, social assistance, helping with self-advocacy, talking to the instructors about due dates, deadlines, course expectations, help with small group activities, or, reminding the students about upcoming activities or assignments that are due. They also are expected to complete weekly evaluations and check-ins to make sure that they are fulfilling their duties and support the students in the best of their ability. In addition, we have an academic center that is located within our office, within our building, and that is open about 25 hours a week. And the top students are required to attend 2 to 3 hours per week to receive outside of class assistance. And so again, this might be editing of assignments, helping with technology, helping the students to get organized for the week and making sure that they know what their expectations are, and just pretty much anything that a traditional tutor would help with. That's what the academic center is for. Now, switching gears, I know I might be a little biased to the academic portion of our program, but we have come so far as well in the campus membership aspect of our program. So our students are enrolled in the university. They have access to all of the luxuries that any other OSU student would, including, and I think this is the part that a lot of students get most excited for, is they get their Buck ID during the summer. That's their student ID and proves that they are 100% authentic OSU students. So the Buck ID gives students access to the recreational facilities, any campus activities that require proof of studentship. And they also can access the the CODA bus, which is a Central Ohio Transit Authority, and basically the city bus. So they can ride the bus for free to get to their internships, social activities, etc. We actually had a student who shared with me yesterday that he took the CODA bus with his Buck ID to the zoo on Sunday because he wanted to go see the wild lights that just started. In addition to their Buck IDs, the students receive their OSU email, and we work pretty extensively with the students. Sorry, my cat just attacked the window. Pretty extensively with the students to convert to divert their attention from their personal email to their OSU email, because this is how most communications with instructors, peer mentors, top staff is going to take place. So we do a lot of training and activities to make sure that the students feel comfortable with their OSU email. And then in addition, our students have access to the commuter meal plan if they choose to. This is if they're living at home or if they're living off campus, but they're going to be on campus for quite a while throughout the day. They have access to that resource as well. Our students are very lucky in the fact that they have a super extensive social calendar that's put out every month, way more active and exciting than my social life in college, for sure. So we have a series of top sponsored events, about 2 to 3 per week, that are advertised on the social calendar. And what I mean by top sponsored is that we guarantee that there will be peer mentors there to support our students. Now, that doesn't mean that those are the only things that students can do. Obviously, students have access to any activity on campus that they would like to participate in. These top sponsored events are just ones that we guarantee there will be support at. So we get involved in a wide range of activities on campus. Buckeye-thon, which is the 24-hour dance marathon to support Nationwide Children's Hospital. Flicks for Free, which is when the Ohio Union brings not yet released movies to the union and the students get to watch it for free. We always participate in the homecoming parade, welcome week, etc. And then we also, between our peer mentors and our top students, have activities like yoga, football game watch parties, Halloween parties, karaoke, which is a huge hit for our students, soccer games, hockey games, ice skating, dinner on High Street, which is the main street that goes through campus, is another huge fan favorite, because who doesn't like to eat? And then we also encourage our students to get engaged in student organizations on campus. And we can provide social coaches or peer mentors to support the participation in those student organizations if the student would like that. And then another part of the program that I really enjoy is that our students are required to complete 25 hours of community service per semester. And our mentality on having this requirement is that historically, individuals with disabilities have been the recipients of service. And so we really want our students to engage in the community in a different capacity other than, traditional social activities. And so there are 2 big community service events that the university hosts every year: the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, and there's a big event in community commitment in the fall. And so our students participate in that to receive hours. We have several volunteer events that are on our social calendar every month that the students can participate in, or they can participate in their volunteer community service independently. It's completely up to the student. In addition, on non-COVID years, we traditionally participate in what's called Buckeye Serve, and that is usually during spring break. It's an alternative spring break program that allows students to travel to a different city across the United States and not only kind of play the role of a tourist, but also play the role of a volunteer in different capacities. And so we've been to Chicago, we've been to Detroit, and we've been to New Orleans on Buckeye Serve trips. That's what the pictures here are from. They've all been fantastic activities and experiences, and have been very memorable and rewarding for our students. We do have a social advisor who helps to pass out and disseminate the social calendars every month and manages the RSVPs and just make sure that we do have the adequate amount of support for our students in the activities. And also make sure that the social calendar is relevant and that we're doing things that the students want to be doing. Sherry, who has been acting as our social advisor, does a really great job of that, of polling and working with our students to come up with activities that they want to be doing that are cool and exciting, and making sure that the students are engaged socially in the program. And then similar to our educational coaches, our social coaches are the students that attend the social events just to make sure that things go smoothly. They can be there to help with money management when the students go out to dinner. So, what's an adequate tip? They also can help with just, smart and healthy decisions. We had a student, they went to BW3s for a basketball game watch party a couple years ago. And we had a top student that wanted to order 3 dozen wings for his meal. And so the social coaches stepped in and, encouraged him, maybe let's order 1 dozen at first. And then if we're still hungry, we can continue to order more. And shocker, he was full by the end of his first dozen wings. So those are the types of things that the social coaches help with, just to make sure that things go smoothly and to be there kind of as a support if the students run into those types of situations. One of the most, I know I keep saying everything is so exciting, but this actually probably is the most exciting thing, development for this school year. After years and years and years of advocating for ourselves for on-campus housing, this school year, the 2021 school year, we were finally able to secure on-campus housing in the residential halls for our students. So we currently have 5 students that are living in Pennsylvania Place, which conveniently is pretty close to our office. It's within walking distance. And as far as I have heard, and as far as I know, this has been nothing but a wonderful experience for our students. They're living, it's inclusive housing. So they're living with other OSU students. They have an RA, which the residential assistant residential advisor that helps, facilitate any roommate concerns or anything like that. And because they're living on campus, they have the on-campus meal plan as well. However, that's not the only housing option that we have. In the past, before we had on-campus housing, we developed a wonderful relationship and partnership with a apartment complex off campus called University Village. And some of the wonderful things about University Village is that, as you can see from that middle picture, they have these big red buses that go directly to and from campus from the complex. And these buses are only available for University Village residents. So although the complex is not that far off of campus, they do have these buses that will take the students to several locations around campus as a very easy way to get from place to place. This is a very popular option. And actually, we had several students that were living in University Village that were then given the option to live on campus for this year. And most of them actually politely declined, because some of the skills that they've been able to develop and learn by living in an apartment style housing has been wonderful. And a lot of the parents thought they would actually, be a step back going back to the dorms. Their University Village, I think the next slide, has studio 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. Most of our students live with roommates, but we do have a few that chose to live independently. And one of the nice things about the partnership with UV is that the leases are in line with the academic schedule. So they are typically shorter leases than those 12-month lease that you would sign in a traditional complex. There's a beautiful pool, a fantastic resident life center that has pool tables and games and computers and Starbucks hot chocolate, as one of our students gets every single morning. And they also have trips to local stores. They'll have sponsored trips to various locations around Central Ohio that residents can sign up for. And also, it's just a very safe, clean, and welcome environment for our students. Costs start at around $650 to $1,100 for the 3-bedroom. OSU is a large place. I don't think anybody is going to deny that. And even myself, even I get lost sometimes walking across campus. And so we want to make sure that our students feel comfortable and safe while they're on campus during their time in the program. And we have extensive travel training then to ensure that our students know where they're supposed to be going, the safest routes to get there, alternative routes if, maybe there's construction or something of that nature. And so we help with walking training, so training to get from one classroom building to the other on campus. We help with training on the CABS bus service, which is the campus bus, and the CODA bus, which is, again, the bus that goes around Central Ohio. We help the students get to class, work, McCampbell Hall, which our offices are located, how to get to University Village if that's where they live, or how to get to Pennsylvania Place if that's where they reside. And we also help our students get set up with accessible transit if that is an option that they would like to go with. OSU has paratransit, which can get is door-to-door service for our students or for students. And then CODA has mainstream, which again is door-to-door service within the CODA bus system. I like to call the OSU Mobile App the Holy Grail for our students. And this is one of the first things I help them download on the first day of class, because this is incredibly helpful for our students in navigating those first couple weeks, in addition to really the whole 15 weeks of the semester. On the app, there's real-time bus service. So if they're at a bus stop, they can see how long until the next bus gets there. They can see their OSU schedule. They can see their grades, campus events, hours of operation of on-campus dining in libraries, and any other kind of updates or important announcements that the university puts out will come through this app as well. It's very helpful. They can get walking directions. They have pictures of each of the buildings. So if a student is, surrounded by buildings and they're looking for a particular classroom, they can visually pull up the building that they're looking for and see which one around them is the appropriate, or sorry, is the correct one. And it's just very helpful. I mean, I even use it on a weekly basis just to make sure that I know where I'm going and utilize the other features of it as well. And now I'm going to pass it back to Jessie.
Okay, so we've talked about academics, we've talked about independent living, we've talked about social engagement at the university. So now we're going to talk about career services. Ultimately, I would think for most of our students coming into the program, employment is their end goal. And so we do focus on this heavily, not that we put more emphasis on this area than others, but these are person-centered experiences for students. And so we use a wide variety of resources to help students grow in their career experiences. And so we do a lot of career exploration, a lot of research, because sometimes our students come in with great goals, but they need a little bit of refinement. Students participate in informational interviews and job shadows. They participate in internships, and sometimes their unpaid internships turn into student employment. And so there's also some resources at the university through career services that our students are able to use. And it's not letting me advance. Okay, so like I said, students start off with career exploration during their first semester. We deliver the pre-ETS curriculum to all students, and so that focuses on self-advocacy, job exploration, workplace readiness, workplace learning, and some of our students do go on to additional post-secondary education, so we try to tie that into what their career goals might be and if that would be necessary or not. Starting their second semester, students will begin an unpaid internship. Generally speaking, that's 10 to 20 hours a week. And so students gain work experiences, they're able to explore careers. Sometimes they determine this is not the job for me. And that's just as much important as knowing what they do want to do. And so, as I mentioned, many students are able to obtain paid student employment. This is not a guarantee of the program. Students, sometimes it's at their internships, bring them on for pay. Sometimes it's in addition. So we have some upperclassmen who might be doing an internship and working for pay so that they continue to grow in their skills. And then for our students who receive work study, that is a paid experience. After graduation, some of our students have stayed on board at the university in a variety of positions. Sometimes that's the general service assistant position, which was a position created by HR so that we can customize roles. Sometimes a student can do 75% of a position, and that last 25%, they're just never going to be able to do. But because they can do the 75, we're able to create a new position that's customized without that, those skills that are still a challenge. And then some of our students go on to obtain regular employment, both at the university and in the community. And so to support them, as we've mentioned, we have several career specialists and job coaches on staff. And so our career specialists really coordinate the internship experience and all of the informational interviews, job shadows, and help students move through those paths that they're going to take. So they also do a little bit of job coaching, and our full-time job coach is on site with students at their internships and fading as our students show success. Our job coach also might work with employers or internship supervisors on how to interact with folks with disabilities or how to best provide supports for our students. All three of our career specialists and job coach, they are the conduit of communication and with the student and the employer, making sure that everybody's on the same page. We also at Ohio State have a career development committee. And so there's many folks on this committee from across the university that help to provide access to internships, to paid positions, and then help us to secure positions either in the community or at Ohio State for our graduates. And so one thing we like to mention, because we do have an academic medical hospital, there are a lot of opportunities there, even for folks who may not want to work in a hospital ultimately, because our hospital is essentially a mini city. There's a lot to do. So we've had some folks who wanted to maybe work in stocking or retail type positions. We have a gift shop at the university hospital. And so we had a student who was able to gain some experience to make some decisions on whether or not that was a skill or a position that he wanted to continue to look at in the future. So as such, all students at the university that are in TOPS go through a background check process, which requires, excuse me, proof of social security number and a photo ID. There's some paperwork that we do with HR. And then the biggest portion is the medical clearance. And so you can do this through the family doctor or at OSU. And this requires up-to-date vaccinations, a TB test, a drug screen, and then an annual flu shot. And so we try to do this before students come into the program because it makes that transition into internships much, much smoother. And then we, as I mentioned, we do the pre-employment transition services coursework during their first semester. And so I'm going to share some case studies on a couple of our graduates and talk about kind of their path through employment. And so this first individual was interested in office support and sterilization. And so he did some office work with our health sciences units, so specifically with occupational therapy and the health sciences student services office. And he was just doing light clerical work there, some data entry, filing, scanning, copying, mail sorting, those sorts of things. He had a paid position as a legislative advocate for disability employment policy for a awareness day that was being held at the State House. And so he was helping with event planning leading up to that awareness day at the State House. So he was making phone calls and making name tags and packets and all sorts of things like that. And then he also had an internship at the dental clinic working on sterilization. And at first, he loved it, absolutely loved it, which was fantastic, but we weren't sure if he loved it because of the his coworkers in the clinic, because they're pretty fantastic people, or if he loved it because he loved doing sterilization. And so his last semester with us, he participated in another internship at a different dental clinic doing sterilization and discovered that not only did he love the people there, and he actually still goes to that dentist's office for his personal dental care, but that he still loved the sterilization. And so when he graduated, we were able to secure him a general service assistant position in central sterile supply for the James Cancer Hospital. The reason that we put him into a general service assistant was because the entry-level position required a national certification in sterilization that he hadn't taken yet. However, that certification wasn't required for the job, although it was a requirement to get the job. And so we were able to write that piece out. But since then, I'm not sure where it has gone because this was fairly recently. He's been working on studying for that exam. And so if he takes that exam and is able to pass, he would be promoted. And this is Maggie. Maggie came in with a goal of animal care. That was her goal. She also came in, she was local to Columbus, so she came in with a part-time position in the community as well. But while she was here for her internships, she did, her first internship was in the animal sciences department in their student success lab. And so she was often setting up anatomy labs or helping the instructors prep and then helping during the lab. So for instance, one day I got a video from one of the coaches and Maggie had her arm in the side of a cow. I assumed the cow was no longer living, and suddenly it started mooing. And so apparently the digestive system allows for this hole in the side of a cow, and they're okay. And students can, learn about the digestive systems by putting their hands in the side of a cow. So very cool opportunity for her. And then she spent the remaining time with COSI. Typically students move from intern to internships every semester. Natalie or Maggie stayed in at COSI the rest of the time because she was continually growing her skills and doing new things. So she first started with just animal care, and eventually she moved into training the rats that you see her holding for rat basketball and doing some behavior training with them. So when she graduated, she began working part-time at a doggy daycare, and then took an online vet assistant certificate course program that she has since completed. And so when we look at our outcomes for students, our number has actually gone up slightly. 82% of our graduates are working. And so we've had 28 graduates. And so that's 23 of them are employed right now, working an average of 25 hours a week and making on average $12.43 an hour. And so what's exciting about this is that these numbers are fantastic for individuals with intellectual disabilities. And what's even more exciting is that we probably have 5 or 6 graduates that work at Ohio State or in the Med Center. And because they work for Ohio State or the Med Center, if they work enough hours a week, they are able to to get health insurance. And then any person who's working for the university pays into state retirement. These are 2 things that are not typical of folks with intellectual disabilities. So we are very excited about that. But then you can see the list here of other places that some of our graduates work. This is not a comprehensive list. And everybody's doing something just a little bit different. And so weaved throughout the program is self-determination. This is really important that students are able to advocate for themselves and make choices for themselves. That doesn't mean that they can't seek support in helping to make those decisions for themselves. And so students participate in PCP meetings or person-centered planning. And so this process has all parts of our program covered within it, and students set goals. They talk about where their strengths are, where they need support, and who they need that support from, or how often they need that support, or what kind of accommodations they're going to need. And they share these with usually with families, but then also our staff. So we need to talk about COVID because that's obviously very impactful right now. I encourage folks to visit the website at the top, Safe and Healthy, which is our OSU's website set up for all things COVID. Students are full-time wearing masks on campus. They are doing daily temperature checks. Staff is also doing these things. For our students living in Pennsylvania Place, they are having weekly COVID testing, and then our other students are tested at random. There have been a few times where students that don't live on campus are able to go get testing even if they weren't pulled at random. We've had to limit capacity for our social events and our academic center so that we can ensure that we are properly physically distancing. This COVID unfortunately has limited some of our internship and course availability. Our internship opportunities, just for some of our businesses that we partner with, space is a concern, or the folks are working from home. We have been able to take a couple internships into the virtual environment. So we do have some students doing that. And then as far as courses, Mallory has had to work really hard because the majority of courses at the university have gone virtual, but students who wanted to be in an in-person course are at least in a hybrid course, if not fully face-to-face.
Oh, I was gonna just step
Yeah,
in really
sure.
quickly, if that's okay, Jesse, considering I just sent out all these emails. So obviously, like one of the biggest parts of my role, other than the courses, is the support from our mentors. And so I wanted to let everybody know that we've also worked pretty extensively to ensure that all of our mentors are also able to support our students in this virtual environment as well. So we've created what we call top support teams, or TSTs, in which 2 to 3 peer mentors are paired with our each top student and check in with them 1 to 2 times a week to make sure that, they're engaged socially with other people, that they are, making healthy choices, because we still do have students that are, living at a university village independently. And it can get kind of lonely, speaking from someone who lives by themselves as well. Making sure that they are still completing the assignments that they need to do for their OSU classes, and still providing support, even though it's not in person, to ensure the success and the satisfaction of our students during this time.
Thank you. Okay. And so confidentiality of our students is really important to us. We are based in the hospital, therefore we do have HIPAA training that staff must adhere to take every year, but then also FERPA, which is the Family Educational Rights Privacy Act. And so we typically are able to get signatures from students on FERPA so that we can communicate with folks like parents, or we can talk to instructors or other academic units on campus on student behalf. We have an alumni chapter, so we invite our student or our alumni back. Some of them, like I mentioned previously, go on to other post-secondary training or education, so they can use our tutoring, our academic center. They are invited to some of our social events. So usually our game watch parties, we invite our alumni. I know last night there was a karaoke event, and alumni were invited to that. And then we usually have office hours for employment support. So if a student needs to find a new job, or they want to ask for a promotion or a raise and need support in doing so, they can access our staff to help support that. So another CODA, our College Orientation and Transition Assessment Program, is a 6-day summer program. It's for students who are coming into the program that we've accepted. And also we typically open it up to students who are still about to graduate from high school and are trying to figure out, is OSU the place for me? And so typically this is an overnight program in the residence halls. We eat in the dining halls, we do events on campus, we go on the city bus and do things downtown. We do a lot of assessments. And from this, we generate a report that families are able to use for skill building, either with their at home or with the IEP team in the school setting. Typically this is in June, so we are planning for June of 21 currently. The cost is $1,250, not $1,500, so I apologize for that. We took it down a little bit. And also Right now, we are tentative on this summer's program because of COVID. We are waiting on guidance for summer programs from the university. So please stay tuned to our website or check in with us if this is something you have interest in for the 2021 school year. So paying for TOPS. College is not free by any means. And so we really work to try to offset the cost of TOPS. We have some very gracious donors. And so we are often able to offer scholarships to students. This is a competitive scholarship. Not everybody is awarded a scholarship, but annually we're able to typically give out around $15,000 a year, which is always fantastic. As I mentioned, because we are a CTP, students can apply for federal financial aid, which allows them to get Pell Grants and work study, or the Ohio College Opportunity Grant. Some of our students have 529 plans, which they're able to pay for our program fee and for their tuition using that 529 plan. Many of our students end up with outside scholarships, whether it's from their high school. There is a local county board of DD in the Columbus area that has scholarships. So there are scholarships out there specifically for individuals with certain disability types that want to attend post-secondary. So you just need to do some digging and searching. And then a lot of our students are private paying for the program. And so we also have a partnership with OOD, or Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities. This is the state's voc rehab agency. And so students can be eligible for some services one of two ways. And so what happens that if a student ends up with authorizations during a semester, that discount is given. And so because this is done on a semester by semester basis, it is not guaranteed that you would get this discount every semester. And so it might be that you get it one semester, but not the next, but then maybe the next one you do. We support this eligibility process. So if this is something you are interested in, we can definitely talk through this a little bit more specifically. So let's look at those fees. So as Mallory mentioned, students are enrolled in 4 credit hours every semester, and the approximate cost, this can go up, is roughly $2,000 for all of the tuition and general fees, access to the city bus, access to student activities, access to the RPAC, the rec center that Mallory mentioned. And then coupled with this $2,000 fee is our program fee for all of the other services that Mallory and I have talked about today. And so we are looking at roughly $7,500 a semester, and this does not include any housing costs. If a student happens to be an out-of-state student, there would be out-of-state fees applied to this in addition. For students interested in living in the residence halls right now, for this year, the room rate for Pennsylvania Place is $3,136 each semester. And then meal plans are roughly $2,000 per semester. If you are living in Pennsylvania Place, you are required to get a meal plan. You cannot opt out of that. And so we have an application process, and this stays about the same every year. We will take applications year round. However, depending on when they come in is when we will review them. And so we have an early action decision deadline that just passed for November 15th. And so for those folks, we will prioritize those with intellectual disabilities for admission for the following fall. And then our regular decision deadline of February 1st. So February 1st for any given year for a fall entry is the deadline. So if someone turns in an application in June, we would look at that application with the November grouping for the following year. And so as part of the application process, there is a document review of things like an IEP or an ETR or psychological evaluation, letters of recommendation, and then an essay. But by essay, we don't necessarily mean a written essay. This could be a product of some sort that talks about why the student wants to be in the program. More information can be found on our website about the specifics of all of the pieces that we require for our application. Once the application has been reviewed, students go through an interview. And once we've done the interviews and reviewed the application, decisions begin to be made. And like I mentioned, we have our top scholarships. So once students have been admitted to the program and they have accepted, they will be given the scholarship application. It is an optional application, but students who do want to earn the scholarship do need to submit. And what we do is just deduct their scholarship from their tuition bill every semester. And this is an annual competition, so students need to apply annually if they want to be considered every year. And so next steps that we really encourage for anybody who's considering for the next fall admit class is taking this free online training called Get Ready for College, put out by VCU. We also encourage students to file for FAFSA beginning October 1st for the following year. We also encourage you to submit your application to the program. Earlier is better. And then you can subscribe to our blog, which is on the screen here at the bottom as well. The blog, we share a lot of research studies that are going on involving folks with disabilities. We share a lot of highlights about our program, about students, about their internships, about the courses that they're taking. And so it's just a helpful place that information comes out in real time, I guess. And so then last, as we finish up, here are some other resources. The top website is our website. So I encourage you to go online and look at the application some more and look at our program. FAFSA for financial aid. And then Think College that I mentioned at the beginning of the program is a great resource. NYSONGR always has lots of other resources as well. And then OOD for that voc rehab agency. So I want to thank you for your time today, and please reach out to transitions at osumc.edu if you have any questions or need further support.